Why, hello there, friends, and welcome back. My name is Navi, and today we're taking a look at a remake of the ancient MMO, Fly for Fun, with some tips and tricks for beginners. Let's get started.
This was given to us by a tiny pastel unicorn.
Tiny pastel unicorn.
Tiny pastel.
Tiny paste unicorn. Pastel unicorn.
Tiny pastel.
Before we get started, there is something we need to clarify. Fly for Fun, or Flyff, is a very, very grind-heavy game. So if spending hours doing the same motions on repeat for minimal payoff is not for you, perhaps you should check out Genshin Impact. If your device has the space, I mean.
Bruh.
If grinding games are your jam, however, then welcome. Flyff Universe is a browser-based MMO that is like no other. I would know, I've played a lot of them. Tip 1, and most important, yes, you can fly in this game. At level 20, your character gains the ability to fly. There's no quest required to do so, you simply need to buy a rideable item and take flight. There is a quest line that you can pick up related to flying, but it's not required to begin enjoying your experience. There's a total of 4 boards and 4 brooms that can be bought from the station NPCs in Flaris, St. Morning, and Darken 1-2. Outside of that, there are also speedier flying vessels that can be bought with real-life monies. Tip 2. Your gender is important. Kind of. In Flyff, equipable gear and fashion sets are gendered, meaning you can pick up a fancy rare item only to realize it's for a lad when your avatar is a lady. There is a way to swap the gender of your gear if you find a really, really great piece, but for the most part, it's easier to just buy the parts you need from other players and sell the stuff that you get. There's a minimal discrepancy between the two outside of looks, but in all honesty, Flyff boys are mid. The girls have all the good outfits. Tip 3. Aggro Mobs. If you see a mob with a bright red name, this is what is called an aggro mob, or an aggressive mob. If you get close enough to these mobs, they will attack you unprovoked, while others will only attack in retaliation. Aggro mobs can spawn anywhere within their area suddenly, so if you have to AFK for a moment, it's best to get on your flying device. As soon as you're on it, mobs on the ground will suddenly forget you exist, which is great when you accidentally get aggroed by a giant who chases you across half of the map. Tip 4. Class changing. When you start the game, you might notice you aren't asked to choose a class. In Flyff, you start off as a generic class, a vagrant, as they're called in-game, with a wooden sword, and that's about it. You need to level your character up to 15 before you can take on the class-changing quests and decide between a mage, masters of elements and floating, mercenary, swingy sword zoom zoom, or big knight stompy stomp, assist, your support class that is also a broken OP battle class, and acrobats, where you dress like a cowboy and use a bow. Or yo-yos. Yes, yo-yos. These quests aren't difficult, and are far more tedious than anything else. But once you're done, you're ready to start building your character. You can buy your new gear from the blacksmith group in Central Flaris, or, if you're a magician, from the magic seller in Eastern Flaris. And perhaps one of the most important things to know is that when you change your class, all of your stats reset completely, which means you don't need to be putting intelligence into your vagrant even if you want to build a mage. Tip 5. Please add stamina. Many players will suggest putting your stat points all into one thing. For example, for a blade, full strength. For a mage, full intelligence. But unless you can afford to upgrade your gear, this will leave your character squishy. In my own personal opinion, every class can benefit from at least 10 to 20 stamina, depending on your comfort level. And yes, this also includes hit and run classes, because y'all can still be hit, and if you are, you don't want to die. Speaking of death, here's tip 6, Loadstar versus Loadlight. This is one that I still get confused, even after over a decade of playing this game, because they really don't take the time to explain it. When your character dies, you will have a few options. If there isn't an assist around to revive you, you can choose to go to Loadstar or Loadlight. Loadstar is the nearest town to you. Meanwhile, Loadlight is a choosable spawn point. There are 4 different Loadlight points in Flyff, St. Morning, Darken 1, 2, and Darken 3. You will need to approach the penguin, the Pang as they call it, and choose to set that Loadlight as your spawn. Meaning when you start leveling in a new area, be sure to find the nearest Loadlight to set as your spawn because flying from town is tedious. Once you are revived, if you return to the spot where you died, you will find a tiny box with your name on it. If you click on it, you can regain 30% of the EXP that you lost. And please be careful because after you change jobs, dying can result in you going back a level. Tip 7. The catchers won't harm you. Within a few minutes of playing Flyff, you will likely spot at least one massive creature wandering around called an Eron's Catcher. Catchers will not harm you. If you hit one by accident, the only thing it will do is follow you around. Do not attack the catchers, however. At low levels, they are nearly impossible to kill and they don't give any experience, so it will be a waste of time. The purpose of catchers is for high level players to hunt down and sucky up for materials. Tip 8. Giants will harm you. Do not attack a giant unless a quest specifically calls for it. Giants are intended for groups to battle, and at lower levels it's difficult to find a group strong enough to take one on. They net no real experience, and the drop rates of anything good they might have are so small it isn't worth the risk of dying and losing experience. Giants have a multitude of attack patterns and AoEs. Their hitboxes will show on the ground just before they attack, but good luck getting away in time. If you do have a quest that requires you kill a giant, hold off on that quest until you're a higher level, because you will die. Tip 9. Loot all the things. As you explore, you may notice a sea of shiny items left on the ground by other players. If you go click on an item, it may give you a red notice saying that the item belongs to someone else. In Flyff, any items that drop are yours to pick up for about a minute, I think. If you don't pick it up, it becomes fair game for anyone else to grab. So anything that says it belongs to another player can still be picked up by you after a few moments. If it feels tedious to click on every single item to pick it up, fear not. There is a way. By typing in O, you bring up the motions menu. Find this icon and place it on your hotbar. Now, when you press it, you will automatically pick up an item close to you. Also check W. When you first start, pick up anything and everything you can. Selling these items is the way you make your first currency, or penya, to buy gear. If you see this drop, however, don't sell it. These are quest items, or drops specific to a mob. Which brings us to tip 10, do your quests. You will notice a lot of NPCs offering quests. If you're a Genshin player like me, this might trigger you, but fear not. These ones do not contain 40 minutes of unneeded dialogue. Outside of the job changes, most quests are the typical go here, kill this, fetch this. The most tedious part is when the NPC asks you to go to the same place multiple times in a row when that place is on the other side of the map. In Flyff, St. Morning, and Darken 1, 2, you will find these NPCs. These lovely ladies will request specific items dropped by specific mobs. When you reach the level of a mob, she will ask you to get their drops. Which means that, if you are killing mobs several levels above yours, be sure to collect their quest items and hoard them. That way, when you hit a level and get the quest, you don't have to go hunting for the items. Quest items can also be used to level up your guild, or you can sell them to other players. So keep picking them up, even after you've finished a quest. Tip 11. Be nice to RMs. Occasionally, you will see a high-level person with a stick wandering around, either alone or following someone. These are called RMs, or Ringmasters, the ultimate support class. Ringmasters can offer buffs that make you feel invincible. They add attack, defense, speed, accuracy, etc. You can slay things far faster than you did before and kill things a higher level than you thought you could. If you see an RM hanging around, feel free to approach them and kindly ask for buffs. Always say please, even if it's just buffs please. If they do buff you, be sure to say thank you. But be careful, these buffs do have a time limit, and if you don't pay attention, they can run out right in the middle of a battle. There aren't always RMs around, but thankfully, Flyff Universe offers a buff pang in various parts of the world. These are penguins placed in certain areas, with far more of them around Flyff. If you click on these little guys, they will give you a few low-level buffs to help you along the way.
Tip 12. The action slot. You may be wondering what this fancy little setup in the bottom right corner is. This is called the action slot. The purpose of the action slot is to rapidly release a series of skills without having to wait for the casting time in between. This can be used in battle to take out an enemy quickly, or if you're an assist, it's a great place to put your usual buffs so you can quickly cast them. Some skills can only be used in the action slot, so be aware when you're spending your skill points. To use the action slot, you can either click on the fancy symbol or you can hit C on your keyboard. Also, it's important to note that each time you use the action slot, it limits your ability to use it. If you continue to use it, you'll notice that you're only casting some of the skills. So don't use it too frequently, unless you get an activation scroll which allows unlimited use for an hour. Tip 13. Time to party. Flyff is meant to be played with other people. Not only does it make the game more enjoyable, but Flyff also has a party system like no other. Joining a party and having someone near you gains you extra experience, even if those people aren't battling. When you first start a party, you'll notice that it has a level. From levels 1 to 10, you've got a basic party, used to power level lower players. At 10, you can change it to an advanced party. An advanced party will net skill points that can be spent on skills you unlock as you go. These skills include battle buffs and drop increases. An advanced party also has the option to switch the experience to contribution, which makes it so that most of the experience goes to whoever is a part of the battle. This includes not only the person attacking, but anyone who is tanking or healing as well. When you're in a group, you will gain extra EXP with every person near you, so you'll frequently see people calling for leeches. If you see someone calling for leechers within your level range, take them up on it. You'll get good EXP while doing nothing, while they get good EXP just from you being near them. The maximum difference between your character and the person leveling, or you and someone you want to power level, is 19 levels. So if you're level 40, you can be a leech for someone level 59, or you can level someone who's level 21. Tip 14. The pet system. You might see people with pets following them and think, that's neat, I want one. In Flyff, there are two types of pets. One is called a pickup pet, which will follow you around and pick up anything that a mob drops. This makes leveling smooth and quick. Occasionally, you will get a free pickup pet that lasts a few days, but for the most part, they can be purchased in the eShop for real-life monies. They're $10, which is great because when they were originally introduced way back when, they were $40, but now $10 is $40, so... The other type of pet is a stat pet. You'll occasionally find eggs while battling, making it seem like getting one of these pets is simple. In actuality, you have to feed them pet food to hatch the egg and level them up afterwards. You can buy this food from other players for a premium, or buy a gathering glove and go out to get it yourself. These types of pets are expensive to upgrade and the upkeep isn't much better. For the most part, they're useful for higher level players. But you're welcome to hatch your eggs just to see what you find, and you can sell them to other players as well. Tip 15. Cheer up your friends. If you click on another player, you'll notice multiple options. Outside of adding them as a friend or following them around, there's the option to cheer. A cheer is a buff that increases the amount of EXP that a player earns. It lasts 10 minutes and can only be cast on other players. If you cheer a player, there's a cooldown before you gain another point. There's a total of 3 points, so you can give out 3 cheers, but note that they will be regained one at a time. Sometimes, if you cheer a player, they will cheer you back. So make sure to be friendly and offer up a cheer to people leveling near you.
Well, my dudes, that concludes my list of tips for Flyff newbies. Remember, folks, if any of these things seem obvious to you, recognize that not everyone is as smart as you are. But good on you for knowing a thing. If you're a newbie Flyff player who liked these tips, please leave a comment below letting me know. And if you're a veteran Flyffer, please leave a comment if I missed anything. While you're at it, please remember to feed the algorithm by liking and subscribing. Thank you all so very much for watching. I love you and, as always, I hope you have a great week. Bye-bye!
Bye bye boo! Nico, 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 Nico.